Okay, today we're going to talk about balancing chemical equations, and the paper that I gave you says balancing act on it if you want to follow along and do those problems with me. First of all, let's talk about what the parts of a chemical equation are. And a chemical equation is just shorthand symbols for a chemical reaction. Okay? So this chemical equation says magnesium plus oxygen yields magnesium oxide. The chemicals on the left-hand side are called the reactants. And the chemicals on the right-hand side are called the products. The arrow in this, you read the arrow in the middle as yields. So this says magnesium plus oxygen yields magnesium oxide. This equation is not balanced. You have to have the same number of atoms in the reactants as atoms in the products. So what we can do, because this is 2 oxygens, this little number right here is called a subscript. You cannot mess with the subscript. What this subscript is telling us is that this oxygen is in a pair. Some atoms, some elements, if they're in a molecule and it's only that element, they travel in pairs. It's called a diatomic molecule. And oxygen is a diatomic molecule. So whenever oxygen's by itself, it's always going to have a 2 after it. Okay, that means there's 2 oxygens hanging around together. So subscript, we don't mess with the subscript. So what we can do is we can add something called a coefficient. And just like in algebra, the coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So if I look at this, I've got 1 magnesium on this side. I've got 2 oxygens on this side. I've got 1 magnesium on this side, and I have 1 oxygen on that side. Okay, I need to have the same number on each side. So my magnesiums are good, my oxygens I need to change. So this is a pretty easy fix. What we can do, since there's 2 oxygens here and only 1 over here, I can put a coefficient of 2 in front of magnesium oxide. Now I've got 2 oxygens and 2 magnesiums, right? Over here I only have 1 magnesium, so I'm going to put a coefficient of 2 in front of that magnesium. And now I've got 2 and 2, 2 and 2, and this is balanced. This equation is balanced. The second equation with calcium and oxygen is almost exactly what we just did, so I'm not going to do it. Nitrogen and hydrogen yield ammonia. NH3 is ammonia. But you can just call it NH3, that's fine. Okay? Nitrogen and hydrogen are also diatomic molecules. They hang around together. We cannot mess with the subscripts. Subscripts stay the same. So this says that I have 2 nitrogens, 2 hydrogens on my reactant side. On my product side, I've got 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogens. So that's not balanced. There's not the same number on each side. So we can add coefficients to make it balanced. So this is where it becomes like an algebra problem or just a simple math problem. What we're doing is we're looking for the least common multiple. whenever you've got an equation and the hydrogens aren't balanced, try to balance your hydrogens first. Okay, that's a tip. Try to balance your hydrogens first. So our nitrogens, we'll get to in a minute, but let's balance the hydrogens, okay? So what is the least common multiple of 2 and 3? And that's 6, right? 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to change this with coefficients so that I have 6 hydrogens on each side. So I'm going to put a 3 here. Now I've got 6 hydrogens on this side, right? And I'm going to put a 2 over here. And now I have 6 hydrogens on this side and 2 nitrogens on this side. So now I've got 2 and 2 nitrogens and 6 hydrogens, and it's balanced by adding these coefficients. Okay, this also works when you've got, we've been doing 2 compounds yield 1 compound, but it also works when you've got 2 compounds and 2 compounds. So I have, copper 2 oxide plus carbon yield copper plus carbon dioxide. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to figure out how many you've got on each side. So, copper, I have 2. Oxygen, I have 1. Carbon, I have 1. On this side, copper, I have 2. Carbon, I have 1. Oxygen, I have 2. Okay? I'll make that 2 bigger. It looks like a subscript. So we don't have hydrogens to worry about. So let's start. Our coppers are already, no, I don't have 2 coppers over here. I have 1 copper, sorry. So our copper is not balanced. Our carbons are balanced and our oxygens are not balanced. So let's start with the oxygen. Let's balance our oxygens. I've got 2 on this side and 1 on this side. So I'm going to add a coefficient of 2 here. Now I have 2 oxygens and I have 2 times 2, 4 coppers. Okay? Now my oxygen's balanced and my carbon's balanced, but now I have 4 coppers on this side and 1 on this side. So it's an easy fix. Put a coefficient of 4 in front of copper on your product side. And now I have 4 coppers on each side. Okay? So if you're trying to figure out how many atoms there are total, you have to multiply your coefficient times your subscript. Okay, let's do this one. We'll do one more and then you can go. Okay, so on this side I've got 2 hydrogens and 2 oxygens on my reactant side. On my product side, I've got 2 hydrogens and 3 oxygens. So you might think, and our hydrogen's already balanced, so we can't start with hydrogens. We have to worry about the oxygens, and you might think, well, 3 on one side, 2 on the other side, I better look for a least common multiple. And sometimes you have to do that, but sometimes some of this is just guess and check, basically, trying to figure out which one it is. So I know that what I need to do is I want to try to get 4 oxygens on this side and 4 oxygens on that side. And I can do that by putting a 2 here. Now I have 2 times 2, 4 hydrogens, and 2 times 2, sorry, I messed that one up. I want to put my 2 over here. Put my 2 over here, and now I've got 4 hydrogens over here and 4 oxygens over here. And then, then I can put a 2 here, and now I have 4 hydrogens and 4 oxygens. And that balances out, because I've got 4 of each on each side. Okay? So you try to do the balance equations worksheet. Most of them are really easy. You just have to put a 2 in front of one of them to make it balance. If you have any questions, shoot me an email and I'll see if I can help you.